Hi, this is Cheryl of Majestic Wire Artworks. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the holly and berries earrings and also a pendant on a floating bale. So this is what it looks like. And I have your supply list written in the description below. And this tutorial is only going to be available on my tier 3 of my Patreon account. And this is my very first exclusive tutorial for my Patreon account. So I'm kind of excited about that. And I really want to thank you all for supporting me with this venture. And I hope to have wonderful tutorials for you in the years to come. Okay, so now enough of that, and let's begin. So in the description, I have that you need 6 pieces of 7-inch wire, which is 17.5 centimeters lengths of 20 gauge wire, and that's for the hollies and berries. And then I have one 9-inch piece, and that works out to 22.5 centimeters, and that's to make the floating bale. So I'm only going to show you one leaf and one berries, and then I'm going to ask you to pause the video and make 2 more of the same thing that you just did. So we're going to start with the holly leaves. So you're going to need a ruler that has metric on it because we're using centimeters for the measurements. And is this close enough for you, I'm wondering? Well, I will try and make it work. Okay. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of 7-inch wire, 20 gauge wire, and you're going to measure 4 inches. And we want the wire straightened a bit. Okay, 4 inches, and just give it a bend, that 4 inches. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and then you need your chain nose pliers to continue that bend. And this bend is going to be the tip of the holly leaf. We're making this tip right now. So we're going to take that and we're going to crimp it down. We want to close it up really tight, like that. And we want the wire to fold like this. Okay. Now, if you followed my other holly earrings and pendant, I mean, they are different, but on that one, the short one is the wraparound wire, and on this one, the long one is the wraparound wire. So we have to think in reverse if you've made those. So the next step is you need a fine tip permanent marker like this, and we're going to take and measure it. Now at this point you can decide if you want all 3 holly leaves to come the same direction. It's really hard to tell which one's right and which one's left. And with this set, it doesn't really matter. So you could just play it by ear and do whatever comes naturally, and then just pick and choose which one's going to be your earrings later. Or you can try and plan it on purpose. So the way to reverse your leaves is at this point, if the shorter one is always at the right for all 3 of them, when you're measuring and marking your bend marks, they're all going to be the same, going the same direction. But if you flip one over so that the short end is on the left instead of the right, it's going to reverse the direction of the leaf. But like I said, it's really hard to tell. I have 2 leaves completed and they are reversed. They're reversed. But like I said, it's hard to tell. So don't stress yourself. I think just don't stress yourself out about it, because nobody's going to notice if they're right or left. It's not a very obvious difference. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm not even going to pay attention as to which one's right and which one's left. And I'm going to put the tip of the wire on a measurement of 1 centimeter. And I'm going to mark 1 centimeter for the first mark. And then I want 13 millimeters. So 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. And we want 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, we want it right here. So I'm going to mark it right, oh, there. Okay. And what I really would like you to do is do this step with all 3 of your leaves. So do this 2 more times, exactly what I've done. And I'm just putting my lid back on, my marker. Okay. So I'm hoping you have paused the video and you made 3 of them. And then this is the next step for all 3. I want you to take your pliers and I want you to line them up like this, right at the edge of that marker. And I want you to bend it. And I want you to be on this side of the marker. And the same goes for this one. We're going to line it up and we're going to bend it like this. Because as we work with it, those marks are probably going to disappear. And we've permanently made it there. Okay. So the next thing I want you to do is do that exact thing with all 3 of your leaves. Okay. So you've paused it. And you've got it done. Okay. So the next thing I want you to do is grab the side of this bend, and we're going to go again, just like we did with the bending. We want it on the side that's closest. Oh, come on, work. The closest to the tip. Okay. And we're going to fold it over and crimp it down just like we did the tip. This is the only time we can crimp 2 down at the same time, which is kind of nice. Okay, so you've got that crimped down. Now I want you to take the time and do the exact same thing for your other 2. Okay. So then it looks like this. Okay, so you've got them all 3 bent down. The next step is to split apart. So the tip's there, and we're splitting it apart here. And we're going to put our finger in there. And we're going to make a V out of it, like that. Okay. And now I want you to do the same thing for the other 2. And I want you to make it so that the V's are very similar in size, because we want the hollies to be fairly close in size and shape. Okay? So you paused the video, and now you have I've noticed that the lines moved there. So I'm going to take and this is a troubleshooting thing, and rebend those since they're together. Okay, like that, because we want them to be the same length. Got that? Okay, so this is now the next step. We want to take one of them and bend it, and we always go into the leaf. So this is the tip of the leaf. So what I mean by bending it into the leaf is the inside of the leaf is here. The outside of the leaf is over here. So we're bending it into the leaf. So we want to go this direction for this. And you're going to bend that. And that's going to make a tip of the leaf. Okay? And then this one, you don't want to bend it this way. You want to bend it towards the center of the leaf. Okay. So that's kind of this bottom of the holly leaf. Okay, and this is the bottom side of the leaf. This is the top side of the leaf. So now I want you to do that step with all 3 leaves. And then we're going to adjust the bottom of the leaves somewhat so they all look alike. So I want these tips to be leveled out. So you almost need to hold this wire in place while you bend it so that it actually works like that. I want you to twist the tip over because it's laying flat, and we want it to be, here, I'll bring it closer up. It's laying flat, and we want it to be flipped on the side like that. So we're going to grab it. We're going to support the rest of the leaf with our fingers, and we're going to give it a twist so it has a different look like that, a nicer tip. We want that to be straight down in the leaf, and I mean, if you can't adjust it right now because it's hard to really see what's straight down now, but or centered. Okay, so now it's more centered. Can you see what I mean? Before it was going sideways a little bit. And this one's a little bit, I want it to go straight. And I'm going to support this while I do it. I'm supporting this is what I meant. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, can you see how that looks nice and level and straight? Now I want you to do the same thing for all 3 leaves. Okay, and now, okay, so I'm hoping you're back. Now I want you to check, because this is the last chance we get to fix it. These bends, the marks, you can see they're off, but then we fix the bends. Let's see if it did a good enough job. Are the bends level? I think so. Whoops, moved my camera. Okay, it's pretty close. This one's needs to be bent out a little bit, I think. Okay, so I'm always doing checks like that. You get better quality pieces that way. And when you're bending it, I want you having the plier on the side closest to the point. Okay, and I've got it bumped up to the bend. And now I'm going to bend it around the rest of the way, the same direction that it started off with the bend. That's why we bent it at the beginning, because I wanted you to make sure you knew, didn't get mixed up with the directions. Okay, got that one done. And I got the pliers on the side that's closest to the tip. And that's the edge of the bend. And now I'm going to, like that, That's pretty close for being level, so that's what we want. Sometimes you have to start all over, crimp them down. And if it bends on you, just straighten it back. Okay, it's crimped pretty good. Now, the same as before, I'm going to bend into the leaf, and we want to get the wire that we're going to be wrapping around the base, and here I'll show you what I mean. The wire that's going to do the wrapping. This one's a little messy. I'll go grab another one. That's what it should look like. That first one I showed you was my prototype. This is set number 6, and they're selling as fast as I can make them. Okay, so this wire, that's going to be the center of the leaf, is the longer of the two. And we want to do that one first, because if we do that one first, it'll be underneath. And we need it underneath to do the wraps. So, yeah, okay. So I've got the longer one, and we're folding it in to the leaf and up. And now the other one into the leaf and up. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten these out. It's allergy season's here. It's affecting me, so you'll have to excuse me. There. Okay. Now I want you to shape it like that with all 3 leaves, and then I want them to be, we need at least 2 of them really similar for the earrings. And sometimes you have to pull this out, and what I mean is sometimes you have to either grab it and pull it to make it longer. Best way to do that is supporting this, and sometimes pushing it out works too, but you got to support the rest of the leaf so you're not wrecking the shape. And hopefully you don't need to do that. Hopefully you did all of that ahead of time when we did the 3 prongs. That's the best time to do it, is because then you're not messing up the rest of the work. Okay, so moving on to the next step. Hopefully you have all 3 looking good like this, looking fairly similar in shape, and leveling this way too if you need to. Sometimes the best way to do it is with your fingers, but if you have to pull out the plier, do it gently. And now that I've got the shape, I am going to hold it between my 2 fingers for the next step. So the longer of the 2 wires is our wrap wire, and it should be at the bottom. And we're going to grab it at the cross point where they're crossing each other, and we're going to bend it this way. See, like that. And we're going to, this one is almost straight, but if, we're just going to bend it so it is straight. See, like that. Okay, holding it tight between my 2 fingers so the leaf doesn't get distorted. Okay, now I'm going to wrap it around once, twice, and then this time just so it's hovers over the top and it's out like that. Okay, now this bent out over on me, I'm going to straighten that out right now. sitting right. Now, if they moved on you, excuse me, you can do minor adjustments, like if this side, and which is the stem wire, is too long and this is shorter. This one's not bad. It's pretty good, but I'm just going to show you. You hold on to this and you pull this up, and you can actually slide it and make it shorter, but you got to do it gently because you could ruin your whole leaf if you do it too much. And you can pull it up gently and you can shorten it a little bit, or if you need it to be longer, you can actually pull it out. See there, I just pulled it out more and more. See how I did that? Okay, now I'm going to fix that. I'm just showing you how you can perfect your adjustments. And now I pulled it too much, because that's the tough part. And there, I think I've got it good. Okay, so the top of the leaf, in case you get them mixed up or turned around, the one side has this all flat. That's the bottom. The top of the leaf has it so that you have more texture. So that bridge is the bottom part, and then it's got a jump up and a jump up there. Can you see what I mean? So this is the bottom of the leaf. This is the top of the leaf. It just gives more interest. Okay? And now what I want you to do with this wire to make the stem is I want you to pull it down like this, and so that it meets up with the point of the holly leaf. Okay, and now we need to push it and curve it back down so it meets the other point. And it's got a bit of an S in it, and that just gives it a design element and more interest. It's always about interest. So the next thing we want to do is take our flush cutters, making sure we have the flush end to what is going to be the finish edge of our product. And I want you to take it about 1.5 millimeters from the point and snip it off at that point. Okay, so about there. Now we're going to introduce to our leaf our seed beads. Now these seed beads aren't anything special. I got them at a dollar store. You just want like a Kelly green. And I believe these are like 2 millimeters big. Maybe a little bit less. Put on 3 of them. You just need to make sure they're big enough that the hole will fit on a 20 gauge wire. And for those of you that do beading, you might have some really nice beads where they're all the same size and shape. But I think that when you get the beads that are different sizes, again, it's giving more texture, more shape, and I like it. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is either take the tip of your chain nose or the tip of your round nose plier, because my round nose pliers have very tiny tips. That's useful a lot of times. And I want you to grab the tip of this wire and give it a tiny bend. Like that. And next I want you to take your chain nose plier, the tip of it, which my chain nose has a tiny tip too. And we're going to bend that wire upon itself like that. Get that nice and in focus there. Okay. And we're going to crimp it in just a little bit. And then I want you to make it, see how it's not level this way? We're going to push it so that it's level that way. So there's no rough edges anywhere. It's good. Okay, and the beads have freedom of flow. And see now, because of all the crimping and everything, they've changed direction. So now I'm going to move them a little bit over so they point to the bottom. And then I want to push it in when we're looking at the side so that it's level with the rest of the leaf. So you got to over exaggerate that bend sometimes until you get it just right. Okay, like that. And that's what it looks like from the front. Okay, so do that with all 3 leaves. I left it a long time, but this part was easier to make the same. Okay, so now I'm thinking you have all 3 of your leaves looking this very similar. And now we're going to make the coil, this part of your drop. So we're going to start with having a tail, and you're going to wrap around. And the beginning is always messy. Don't worry about that. Just keep wrapping as close as you can because your hand gets in the way. Okay. And then when you can, do about 6 wraps. Push it together. Okay, so it's nice and neat. And the secret of making a neat coil is when you get to this point to always wrap it as close as you can, because the second you get it too far apart, it's going to make a noticeable difference in your coil. Okay, and then I did 6 again, pushing them together, making it neat. Okay, and we want to do this till we have a 15 millimeter length. But let's do a little bit, tiny bit more than 15. Let's do 16 millimeter length or 17. And I'll show you why as soon as I'm done. Let's see where I'm at right now. So I'm only at 1 centimeter, so 10 millimeters. I kind of went far there. At. Okay, we're getting there. So we're going to want to do this with all 3. there. It's 15, and I want to do a little bit excess. Let's slide this down. Okay, because when we start, that's always the messy part. So this is my little trick, is you just unwrap the end and get rid of the messy part. And it leaves all neat wiring. And now let's see if it's 15. Okay, so we can unravel a little bit more, about 2 wraps. Okay, and that should be 15 right there. So I'm moving this to the end. I should have done this beforehand. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to make sure that wire's nice and straight. And doing this, not only does it straighten it, it's strengthening it, work hardening it. Now, I'm going to warn you that at 38 minutes, my phone automatically turns this into 2 videos, and we are 6 minutes away from that, and I know I can't finish this in 6 minutes. So it's going to cut it right in the middle of my talking, and there's nothing I can do about that. I could, actually I could pause it right now and start a second one. Maybe I should do that. Okay, so want you to catch up all 3 leaves at this point, and we will continue with the part B. This is part A with the part B video. So I'm going to have the same title with the part A and a part B. Okay, so I will see you in a bit. Hang on.